up, same pattern, different face, and it follows them around for decades. And I want to talk about the root causes about why this is happening, because we get asked this question every week here on breakthrough calls, on applications to work inside Break the Cycle. Why does this keep happening? I've worked really hard on myself. I've done a lot of talk therapy, and I keep pulling in the wrong types of partners. What's wrong with me? So if you've ever found yourself thinking these things, I really want you to pay attention today. The root reason behind why you are successful, you're driven, your work is going great for you, other areas of your life are going great, you've got a great friendship, social circle, is because you have learned somewhere early on in your life that you have to work hard to win somebody's approval. And this can be really subtle. So sometimes we work with people here who are very aware that they had a chaotic childhood and that their childhood wasn't great. But then oftentimes we work with people who also agree with, like, no, my childhood was fine. We went on vacations, everything was fine. Whatever camp you grew up in, if you had a parent or a caregiver, or you were in some kind of an environment where maybe your parent was a workaholic, or your parent was consumed with problems, or on a more extreme sense, your parent had anger issues, or was had some kind of an addiction. When you're young, you tend to take on that belief. You tend to make it your fault. Why does this happen? Why do you make it your fault? Because when you're a child, you don't have the brain development yet to discern this is their behavior. It has nothing to do with me. You tend to take everything on personally because you're looking to that person for survival. And so what happens if maybe you grew up in a childhood where you had siblings, but you felt like you were competing for a parent's attention, or there was a favorite sibling, you will learn on some subconscious level that you have to work hard to be loved, or you have to do things right to be loved or to be accepted by people. We also work here with a lot of women who struggle with perfectionism because they inherently feel insecure about themselves. And this didn't start with her ex partner. It began long ago. So if you grew up around the messaging or the childhood conditioning, I have to work hard to win somebody's attention. I have to work hard to get my mom's attention, my dad's attention. I have to modify my behavior to keep the peace. You are going to take that behavior with you into your adult life. Now, the positive things about this, and especially if you maybe grew up in a chaotic childhood environment, is that you will often be very perceptive. People who grew up walking on eggshells, having to modify their behavior, whether you had something as pronounced as sexual trauma, or maybe just, one of your parents was constantly angry, or you didn't know what you were going to get when you came home from school that day. You tend to be very intuitive and perceptive, and you probably knew with an ex right away that there were red flags, and you maybe knew even in a work environment early on in a career path that things didn't feel right for you. But because you got so used to ignoring that feeling as a child and continuing to move forward anyway in order for people to like you, in order to feel safe and accepted, you will continue to do that in your adult life until, unfortunately, it usually takes a really, really bad relationship to be the wake-up call and the catalyst for you to heal that pattern. So the root cause behind why you can be really driven and successful and outwardly look like you have your shit together, but on the inside feel like, why do I have a broken pick, or why do I keep attracting the same types of partners? This shouldn't be happening to me. I see other women that are in my league that are, happily married, and they're going on vacations with their spouses, and I keep attracting avoidant people or unavailable people, or you might even be the type of person who's been so jaded that you start to see happy couples and then you immediately tell yourself the story that they can't be that happy, it's not possible. All of this stems to your stuff, to your own subconscious beliefs that you have to work hard to be loved by somebody. Why does this make you an excellent match for an emotionally unavailable person or a narcissistic person or even a chaotic job environment? That's the ideal playing field that will cause you to play out that pattern and work really, really hard to get your needs met and then still not feel heard and ultimately wind up feeling resentful. People, especially with manipulative personality traits, tend to, and I don't know if this is conscious or unconscious, tend to seek out partners who are driven, who are confident, who are self-sufficient, who are motivated, who are mindful and conscientious, because they themselves, a manipulative or an emotionally abusive person, has their own deep insecurities and their trauma that they're carrying with them. And they realize that by pairing with somebody who may give them a lot of chances or who may be very understanding when they cheat or when they turn to drugs or alcohol halfway through the relationship as an escape route, they realize that that person is going to be more accepting and tolerant of them. And that's how they enter that relationship, and usually in a conscious or unconscious way, take advantage of your generosity, your empathy. And for you, on the other side of that, your own trauma, your own inherent feelings of, I have to work really hard to get my needs met in relationship, will actually cause you to be addicted to somebody who keeps pulling away from you, because a few reasons: the highs and the lows. Toxic relationships are very adventurous. They can be very exciting. And if you tend to maybe have an addictive personality, if you think about other areas of your life, are you addicted to achieving? Are you addicted to getting more degrees and feeling like you got to get more titles after your name in order to feel loved and secure and worthy? Are you addicted to work to avoid your feelings and avoid the emptiness that you have inevitably face at the end of the day, or the loneliness? Are you addicted to drinking? Have you been addicted to substances in the past? So you may have an addictive personality, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But if you tend to get into unhealthy relationships where you feel like, it starts off great, but then you're constantly chasing to get your needs met, there's definitely a level of co-addiction that exists in that cycle, because somebody with their own trauma is running away while you are chasing. And there's this back and forth push-pull dynamic that unfortunately a lot of people stick in, and also creates a trauma bond. So if you've ever asked yourself, why does this keep happening? If you're doing a lot of therapy and you're doing a lot of hard work on yourself, you may also be beating yourself up that you're not getting the results that you want. But the other thing that you need to consider is that this pattern is not something that you can logically change. And this is the problem that a lot of people that we work with have in talk therapy. They get some insights. Their therapist tells them, yes, you're with a narcissist. Yes, you need to divorce him. Yes, you had childhood trauma. This is why that happens. They logically understand why it's happening, but they don't know how to change it. And in order to change that, you have to first break your own addiction to living in anxiety, living in fear, living in fight or flight. A lot of people don't know that when you're in an unhealthy relationship and you're experiencing the highs and lows, that your body gets biochemically addicted to that pattern. Your brain releases neuropeptides into your bloodstream that signals different hormonal centers in your body to produce more cortisol, to produce more dopamine, norepinephrine, to get your heart rate up, to get your stomach tightening, to cause you to feel like you got to constantly narrow your focus and try to fix a problem. when you leave a relationship like that, your body is basically still addicted to that pattern. I was just speaking with somebody recently who had left an unhealthy marriage, but it's been months and she's still living in fear and still living like in anticipation of what could go wrong and when's the next shoe going to drop. So if you continue to live like that, a lot of people don't know that your body memorizes that as your new normal. And if it's not your partner that you're going to get your fix from, then most people will try to get their fix and live in chaos through being a workaholic, through spending too much money, living frivolously to kind of create that stress response in their life. And so talk therapy usually doesn't give you body-based or mind-body-based tools to emotionally regulate in the moment. And this is what we do here inside Break the Cycle, is where people get stuck in talk therapy. They need to heal that relational trauma that they have. And you need to do that both from not a top-down approach like talk therapy is, but from a bottom-up approach. Your body has memorized this response. And if you're still living in fear, anxiety, ruminating, feeling stuck, feeling emotionally numb, people disassociate as a response to this pattern or these types of relationships. This is all your body has memorized that response. And if it's not a partner or a romantic relationship that you're going to get that fix from, you're going to get it somewhere else. So when we talk about breaking a cycle, we're really talking about breaking your cycle that may be rearing its head, not just in your romantic life, but other areas of your life as well. So that is the root cause behind why you can be successful in your life, why you can outwardly have it together, collect degrees, collect job titles, collect the house, collect the car, collect the vacations, the ladies golf membership that you might be into, and outwardly look like you have it all together, but on the inside still feel empty and still feel like you're broken and still feel like something's wrong with you, is because this pattern of needing to work hard to feel loved and to feel and to win somebody's approval is familiar for you. This is your template. And in order to change that template, we have to go beyond just logically talking about it and get into your subconscious and shift those subconscious beliefs and shift your addictive relationship to stress and anxiety and overworking, overachieving, then maybe feeling overwhelmed and resentful and exhausted at the end of that, and bringing you more into a state of emotional balance, giving you tools to emotionally regulate when you hit triggers in your life so you don't fly off the handle and do something destructive or dysfunctional. And then the work just doesn't stop there, because life is going to continue happening in front of you and you're going to continue experiencing challenges in life. The real work happens when you take consistent action. And the number one reason why people don't change long-term is a lack of consistency. And we see this every single day when we talk to women. They've been out of a marriage, out of a relationship for months or years, and they may read a book here and there. They may go to therapy for a little while, but they don't know how to implement what they're learning. They don't actually know how to apply the insights into their real life, because applying the insights you're getting means you have to get out of your comfort zone and you have to overcome your fear. And when left up to your own self, most people will default to living in fear and living in their comfort zone and justify living in fear by telling themselves, no good men exist at my age. No good men are available in my town. All the excuses that you could come up with. I don't have time right now. My work is crazy. So if you're stuck and you realize maybe you're, midlife, 40s, 50s or beyond, and you've done a lot of therapy, but your love life doesn't change. And, the older you get, the more you realize that you haven't really been living. You've been surviving a bad relationship, a bad marriage. And maybe you're out of that relationship, but you're still just surviving and you're still just existing. And you know that you have to do deeper work on yourself to heal this concurrent pattern and take action that's going to put you in the face with your fears so you learn how to overcome your fears, keep your heart open, and when you're ready, attract a great partner. this is what we help people do. This is what we help women do, is to stop feeling like an imposter, stop feeling like something's wrong with her, stop chasing achievements, stop chasing things out here. There will never be, if you're waiting for a partner to love you, you are setting yourself up for massive disappointment. There's nothing wrong with wanting a partner, but if you are feeling lonely right now, if you're feeling like something's wrong with me, and you're believing that when I meet the right guy, this will all go away, you are going to be sorely disappointed, because your emotional state is going to continue to impact your choices, whether you like that or not. And if you want to have a healthy relationship eventually, and you've never had that before, you have to be the healthy relationship long before that person ever shows up in your life. So if that's the work that you know that you want to do, and it's like, I have to do this, and maybe watching this today sparked something in your heart where you're like, ugh, I can't keep doing what I'm doing anymore. I don't want to keep being a workaholic. I don't want to keep telling myself it'll happen when it happens. There's something wrong with me, but the right guy will just plop in my lap, and that you're like 55 and that's never happened. Then I strongly encourage you to book a breakthrough call and get on the phone with us, and we'll have a very honest, heart-to-heart, eye-opening conversation about your pattern. And most importantly, we're going to get you super clear on what you really, really want without any limitations, without the fear that you might be living in day to day. And if we feel like we can help you overcome the fear and the internal obstacles you put in front of you that stop you from getting progress, we'll talk about how we can help you. But I want to be clear about who this is for specifically. This is for somebody who is professional driven, other areas of your life are going really well. And this is because healing relational trauma is best achieved consistently when other areas of your life are not major sources of stress. So if you're struggling, with you're not employed right now, you're not knowing where you're going to live, this wouldn't be the time necessarily to have that conversation. The second thing is that you want change. You don't want to continue living in fear, and you know that you want more in life. You might not have specific clarity on that yet, but you're actually ready to go all in on that. It might feel scary. It might make you nervous. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but you don't want to keep telling yourself the story. One day when I'm a little older, or one day when I have more money, or one day when I have more time, because that day will never come. We're for people who realize that change is up to her, and that it is her choice and her decision to go all in that is going to create the results. And last but not least, you're single, you're divorced, you are not hoping to make it work with your ex. We can't help anybody who is still longing to go back to an abusive situation. So those are the requirements that we have. If you, again, like I said, if this resonated with you and you know that you need to make some significant changes, and you know it's going to be hard, but you're up for that journey because you know the last 20 years of your life have been really hard, and you don't want to keep repeating that. And you know, if you stay doing what you're doing, you're going to be stuck. Then get on the call with us, BethanyDotson.com/talk. I'll drop the link in the comment section. And we'll have a very honest conversation to see if we can help you change your life. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.